Chapter 24. Knock, knock. Marlena pops her head in the door of my hut. Look what I found. She's holding an oval-shaped mirror, outlined with an inch of glistening silver. It is like an item that someone found in an annual dig, but yet meticulously cleaned up to be sparkly once again. I could have used that moments ago when Liam was here. My reflection in it shows my flushed cheeks, like I had been outside building a hut and not inside sitting down in one. It appears the intensity with Liam earlier hasn't worn off. At least I look somewhat okay otherwise for having an impromptu date after rolling out of bed. Although a little too late to care anyway, since Liam had been looking at me all morning. For me? I ask, rubbing my hand along the frame of the mirror. Yes, ma'am. Apparently Gavin put in a special order for you, so now you have your very own. A teasing grin crosses her face. Just in case any more boys sneak into your hut first thing in the morning, now you can give yourself a quick once-over in the mirror. Marlena! I gasp before a giggle escapes my lips. You saw? I almost stood guard outside. I tried to distract Nate for as long as I could, but there was no holding him back. I spared you a few extra minutes, though. She rests the mirror against the wall. Maybe next time Liam is in here he can hang this for you. Her eyes shine with humor. I'll put him to work. What are you planning to pay him with? Marlena! We are both laughing hysterically. I can't believe you. There's no denying that man is easy on the eyes. Don't even try to say you haven't noticed. I've definitely noticed. It's hard not to. All the girls here have been talking about him since he arrived, she goes on, taking a seat on the stump stool that she dragged in with her. I was wondering who would get to him first. I carefully lean against the wall. I don't know about getting him, but I like it when he's around, I admit. Then a thought strikes. You're not one of the girls vying for him, are you? Marlena blushes. I've never seen her get like that, so I think for sure that she likes him until she responds with, No, he's not really my type. He's handsome, that's for sure, but no. Relief washes over me. I would hate it if Marlena liked Liam. There's no way anything could happen with him if that's the case. Besides, she has every quality any guy could want. She has her pick of any man. What's your type? I ask, surprised that Marlena hasn't explained further. She loves to talk, so it's rare for her to not expand with details. It's not really a type. Her eyes meet mine for a moment like I should understand more than I do, and then she looks away quickly. Hey, do you like the mirror? Maybe Gavin could get a different color or something if you don't like the silver. I'm disappointed she doesn't want to talk more about guys. It's fun exploring this side of life with another girl. Since we don't know each other well enough yet, I don't push it further. I do. I succumb to the change of subject. Nah, another color isn't necessary. I'm not sure what else would go with brown walls. She snorts as she holds up the ugly multi-fabric curtain we made for a door the other morning. Yeah, we don't really get too picky with decorations, do we? I think we may not be cut out for designer roles. I pick up the curtain and analyze our work before hanging it. Where do these things come from, anyway? The fabric pieces, the mirror, the food? You can't tell me it's all randomly being found in the forest or dug up. Marlena bites her bottom lip before saying, Gavin still hasn't shared much, huh? Nope. I'm aggravated, and there's no sense in hiding it. Ugh, he will kill me for this. Marlena stands and puts her hands on her hips. Do you want to see where we get these from? Like, right now? I question. I only expected to be told, not to be shown. Yeah, but it's quite a walk. Her voice drops, and I know she's worried about whether I can handle it. I'll be fine, Marlena. I appreciate your concern, but I promise I'm good. I'm not completely sure I am. But I'm not backing down on the opportunity to discover more truths about rebirth and the life Gavin has been hiding for all these years. Her fingers tap her hips as though evaluating my condition for herself. After a silent moment, she says, "We'll have to stick to the outside of the path so we don't get in anyone's way. Promise me you'll let me know if you're struggling at any point, okay?" I nod in agreement. Marlena sighs loudly. "He's definitely going to kill me. Let's go. But once we get out of rebirth, we have to stay quiet." We walk out of my hut slowly, as though Marlena is afraid I will break. Or maybe she's doubting the trip we're about to make. Although I don't know her well, I do know once she puts her mind to something, nothing will stop her. Not even the wrath of Gavin, which speaks volumes. Even if she's second-guessing showing me this big secret, she will still do it now, no matter what. As we edge out of rebirth, Marlena pulls out a compass from her pocket. "You'll eventually get one of these when Gavin shows you all the paths we take," she whispers. "On this one, we're moving slightly off the normal coordinates to stay hidden. Be careful of what you're stepping on, because it could get bumpy." The second the last syllable leaves her mouth, I stumble on a small root poking out of the ground in an inverted V and trip. "Oof!" I cry out as I tumble forward, catching my balance right before I fall. "Are you okay?" Marlena reaches out for me. The uncertainty of our trip washes over her face. "I'm fine. Just a stumble. I'll be more careful." I console her. My right toe is throbbing in my shoe. I'm fighting hard to keep a constrained look on my face so she doesn't see I'm hurt. She gives a determined nod and turns back to lead the way. I'm keeping my eyes on the ground, careful about anything else that may suddenly appear during the trek. Voices stop me in my tracks. Marlena waves, silently mouthing to crouch down. She's already in position, hiding behind a bush.
"We got some good stuff this time. He must have been in a good mood."
It's Nate's voice. There's a rustling of a bag as though he's digging through something. "I don't think he gets to pick it, dummy. They just give him extra of whatever they have." Lindsay fires back.
"Whatever. You know he makes special requests."
The crunch of food, like somebody taking a bite of a carrot or apple, follows. "Ew. Don't chew over the rest of the stuff like that. You're such a pig. You need to..." Their voices fade away. When Marlena gives me the sign, we continue on. Several more times we have to dodge behind bushes as other people from Rebirth cross the main path. I count 6 different voices, and they're walking in pairs each time, complaining about the weight of bags or excited about what's inside. My curiosity surges as we get closer. Marlena is right. It is quite the walk from Rebirth. My body aches, not fully recovered from everything it's gone through. But adrenaline is pumping and helping me stay focused on what's coming. Marlena drops to her hands and feet and motions me to do the same. She waits for me to inch right next to her. Together we crawl several more feet. She stops and points through an opening of a bush. It takes a little searching to find a hole in the bushes big enough for me to see through. Once I do, I finally see the sight, and I have to refrain from gasping. A mountainous pile of boxes sits in the middle of a grassy area. Liam has a clipboard in his hands and seems to be counting the contents in each box, marking the results on a piece of paper and then setting the box to the side. We watch as the 2-person teams from Rebirth come and grab the counted boxes and walk them back to the community in a very organized system. Gavin appears from a distance, balancing 2 large boxes in his hands. They must be heavy because the veins in his muscles are protruding. He sets them down in the pile, struggling when bending down with them.
"That's all,"
he announces, standing again and wiping his hands together.
"Where are we at so far?"
Liam moves closer to him so they can both see the clipboard as they flip through the pages together. Marlena leans over and whispers, Gavin refuses to show us the actual location where the supplies come from, or who else is involved. So he gets them and brings them to this spot. Only 10 of us have been granted access this close, and we'll rotate shifts to bring the supplies from here to Rebirth. It gets to be tedious, but it's a good workout. He won't tell anyone where the supplies come from, though. I recall the story he told me when we first met about how apples and other things from Impetus come from a different community far away. It's strange that he won't even share the truth to his own people in Rebirth. Is it possible there's another full community elsewhere? There must be. Marlena shakes her head. No, unfortunately. He makes a good point when he says it doesn't matter. We have everything we need. It's exactly what I had said about Impetus before everything happened, and that belief turned out to be a mistake. I don't say this out loud, though. As soon as I think it, remorse swims in. Rebirth is different than Impetus. Gavin is different from the Elders Board. But I wonder if he realizes how much control he's inflicting by withholding information which mirrors what Impetus did. Marlena and I turn our eyes back to the spot in the bushes we each found. Gavin and Liam are gone, though. The pile of boxes is all that remains. That's strange. He always says we should never abandon.
What in the world are you doing?
Gavin's anger makes us both jump and quickly turn around. Gavin! We exclaim in unison. You scared us, Marlena adds.
What are you doing, Marlena?
Then his eyes land on me, pointing to me, but directing his question to Marlena.
What is she doing here?
I gave her your mirror, and we talked about where this stuff comes from. I didn't think it was bad to show her.
But yet you were cowering in the bushes, so you must have known it wasn't a good idea.
We were just...
I don't care,
Gavin yells, startling me.
Bottom line is we could have seriously hurt you.
He holds up the knife in his hand as proof.
I thought you were a damn spy or someone not from Rebirth, Marlena, and she...
He points to me, emphasizing she with pure disdain.
Does not need to be out here.
I stand up from the ground to force Gavin to look directly at me instead of pointing down to me like I'm a child who has broken a rule.
First of all, my name is not she. Secondly, are you pissed because you are concerned I'm still weak, or because you want to continue to hide things from me?
Without hesitating, Gavin responds,
Both.
I am stunned by his transparency. Generally, I'm strong when it comes to pushing back against Gavin. I have nothing this time. My heart feels like it crashed in my stomach. Was I stupid to trust him? Gavin, hey. Marlena angles Gavin's shoulders so he's facing her. Listen, it's my fault, not Evangeline's, so don't get mad at her. I know you talked about her being part of the team, so I jumped the gun too soon. We didn't screw anything up. No one is hurt. All is fine. Gavin glares as though he's going to attack and rip her apart. After a moment, his shoulders slump.
Okay, Marlena.
He shakes his head in obvious displeasure.
Just take her back, okay?
She nods and releases his shoulders. Turning back to me, she says, Let's get going. She takes my right arm and puts it over her shoulders and then slides her arm around my waist. I made it here just fine, and she knows that. But now she has to prove to Gavin that she is taking good care of me and not putting me at risk of an even slower recovery period. Gavin doesn't look at me or say anything else. He pushes through the bushes and walks back to the box pile. I watch him, and then see Liam, who must have returned to the pile earlier. He is focused, looking through each box, obviously trying hard to ignore the commotion. I'm relieved, because I would be embarrassed if he was more involved. The way Gavin treats me is so infuriating. Marlena is quiet as we walk back to Rebirth. Are you okay? I ask her. She scrunches her nose. It's just never fun to get yelled at, especially by him. Gavin respects you, though. I don't think he would have calmed down at all if it wasn't for you. It's such a true statement that as soon as I say it, I wish I could have the same effect on Gavin as she does. I only seem to rile him up, not calm him down. I mean, he gets me a mirror, which seems sweet, but then when he talks to me, it's like I'm a child. Sometimes I don't think he realizes I'm not the 6-year-old girl he met 12 years ago. That's why you're different to him, Evangeline. None of us have the same relationship with him that you do. None of us have that history. He can be complex, sure, but you will probably be the only one who figures him out. Crestfallen, she obviously has an equal amount of respect for Gavin as he does for her. I'm not too sure about that. I am, Marlena murmurs. We walk in silence for the remaining return trip to Rebirth. I'm not sure what Marlena meant, and it's hard to determine her true feelings. Maybe that's why I like her so much. She doesn't just remind me of Jacqueline. She reminds me of Gavin, too.